I would say if the authorities didn't want us involved in the public square, they ought not to have crucified Jesus in the public square.
Use humanistic principles.
Well, I would say, Dan,
same idea.
I would say
same
that.
end.
I would say, what's the problem with Stardust bumping into Stardust?
In the cosmic picture, no, there's no problem. In the cosmic picture, it won't matter.
No, Mr. President, you are not protecting reproductive freedom. You are authorizing the destruction of freedom for 1 million little human beings every year.
I'm sorry, my friends, but I am tired of seeing Jesus presented as a weak beggar. He is a powerful Savior, and the gospel is not a suggestion, it is a command.
Reverend Mola, don't you sympathize with that?
I sympathize with every single human heart wishing to know the one true and living God, but I believe there's only one way that can happen, through Jesus Christ, and the gospel is about repenting of sin, not celebrating it.
Right now, you're on the threshold of an amazing adventure. We will explore the spiritual abyss. You have not experienced this before. You're gonna love it.
When you spread out your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Even though you make many prayers, I will not listen. Your hands are full of blood. Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Remove the evil of your deeds from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do good. Seek justice. Correct oppression. Bring justice to the fatherless. Plead the widow's cause. That's Isaiah chapter 1, y'all. I'm Jeff. They call me the Ninja. That's Luke the Bear right there.
What up?
Welcome back to another episode of Apologia Radio. You guys can get more at apologiastudios.com. That's APOLOGIA studios.com. That's where you guys go to get the past episodes. We have hundreds of terrestrial radio programs when we were on the airwaves. The actual airwaves.
Yeah.
And they're all there. And you also have all the podcast episodes. If you go to apologiastudios.com, you also have Provoked, our show. You have Cultish. You have Sheologians. All those shows, just God's really using huge impact. Millions of downloads. God's doing big things here at Apologia Studios. Don't forget to sign up for All Access. When you guys do, you partner with us in ministry. You are making everything that we do possible. And don't forget, when you sign up for All Access, you also are going to get access to all the TV shows, the after shows, Apologia Academy, all the good stuff, guys. All that to bless all of our partners in ministry. Thank you so much for joining us. As you can see right now, we are doing a very special election update broadcast, but we have a very, very special guest with us in the studio. You've seen something from him before with us at Apologia Studios. You're going to be seeing a whole lot more with Arizona Representative Walt Blackman. He is the hero of Arizona's children. I just read that passage, and there are so many we could have gone to from Isaiah about seeking justice, correcting oppression. This is all in the context of God speaking to his own people, telling them, don't bother with the worship. Don't bother with the many prayers and all the ritual. He says, your hands are full of blood. Seek justice, correct oppression. And he says this is powerful. Bring justice to the fatherless. Bring justice to the fatherless. All these fatherless children abandoned by their dads in the womb. We have so many children who have been killed in our nation as a result of many things, but of course the fiction of Roe v. Wade, as though that were law. It is not law. Yep. And the state of Arizona has a law currently on the books right now that says abortion is a criminal act. It's against the law in the state of Arizona. And Representative Walt Blackman is going to be putting in some legislation that will protect these children in the state of Arizona. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jeff, and I appreciate it. Luke, it's always good to see you.
Yes.
And I like you're rocking the beard.
beards.
That's right. Yes. Before you know it, you'll be
I'll be
dropping.
doing that.
You'll hang out in the studio for a little bit. You'll leave, and you'll look in the mirror, and it'll be like it'll start to be crawling out of your face.
I just want to get it up here. That's all.
Right. Yes.
If it can start up here, I'll be good.
There you go. So
work its way down.
Yeah, I want everyone to get to know who you are. So let's just talk. Make sure everyone gets an introduction to you, who you are. We're working right now on establishing justice for the preborn in the state of Arizona, and doing what is right and what is by law the right thing to do. But you have a life before this where you were also trying to save lives and to protect American lives. So tell us about that, so everyone kind of gets a background of who you are.
Okay, well, thanks again for having me. I spent 21 years in the United States Army.
Wow.
The job I had was a tank commander. And with that, I was in charge of 1 tank and then 4 tanks and then 16 tanks as a first sergeant.
Wow.
21 years, several deployments, several peacekeeping deployments, which I like better than the regular combat deployments because you actually get to help people.
Yeah.
When I went to Kosovo the first time, we were helping those folks that were being annihilated from folks that didn't like them. And we were just kind of getting in the middle of them, moving them apart, but just, making sure that we secured life. And that was the best part of my deployments. Now, the other side, I deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, and protecting their type of a new type of democracy, if you would. When I was there in 2004, they just started the elections. And there was one time I was sitting on my tank, and this older gentleman, Iraqi descent, comes walking in front of my tank. And I jumped down and asked him, hey, where are you going? And in his broken English, he said he was going to vote for the first time in his life. And he had to be about 80 years old.
Wow.
And he was just so excited about it.
Wow.
And it's so basic, their elections, was that they put their thumb on an ink print, and they would, that's how they would vote the first time they voted. And, but the difference between that country and this country is that I had to overwatch the polling site with a M1A2 tank because there were still people out there that believed that they needed a different type of life. And some of the things that I see today, it's kind of similar what some people want, but they really don't understand the other side of that unless you're on the ground there. So I did that. Another job I did in the military was I was the prevention of sexual assault and harassment program manager. So in the military, there was an uptick of sexual assaults and sexual harassment. The Army came out with a program called SHARP. I was part of developing that program for the United States Army and for the units that I was assigned to, and then also was program manager for that. And I did that for a very long time. And then when I got done with that, retired with my sweetheart, Christy, in Snowflake, Arizona, and she gave me about a month to go back to work. And I ran for office, and here I am, and you gentlemen of God walked into my life, and we're able to do some good things, and I can't wait until we start running this legislation.
We've become close and become friends, and we have a lot of respect for you, but when we've told you, we've been praying for you for years. For years, literally for years. We knew who you were. We were praying for you, and at God's perfect timing, He allowed us to get together and to get to know you, and we're so encouraged. And we believe that flattery is a sin, so I want you to know that. It is amazing to us that in God's providence, He prepared you in such a way where you spent your life trying to defend people's rights and freedom. You spent life. Specifically at life, protecting life, and you've had behind you a whole career where you've been trying to uphold justice and protect victims' rights.
Yes.
And then God put you in a position where you are now in the state of Arizona, House of Representatives. You are working now for another term. So this is another. Another term. This is years of your life now dedicated once again to serving the people of the state of Arizona. I want to make sure it's clear as people get to know who you are. We're calling you the hero of Arizona's children because of what you are emphasizing and what you are working towards in the state of Arizona. You want to establish justice for Arizona's children.
Yes.
But there's more to you than even this issue in terms of what you are trying to accomplish and to propagate in the state of Arizona. People think that Arizona is a blue state. I would have strong disagreements with that.
Yeah, me too.
If you live here, you're like, I know where the blue areas are, but this is not a blue state.
Yeah.
You believe strongly in the Constitution.
Absolutely.
And that actually is a very significant detail when you talk about representatives of the citizens going into a place of public office. Are supposed to represent the interests of the citizens, and they're supposed to do it based upon the law.
Exactly.
And so talk to us about your commitments to the Constitution and to the rule of law in this country.
Well, it's for people of color and black and brown, I look at the 14th and 15th Amendment. That guarantees us citizenship and the right to vote, basically. But the citizenship part is particularly important to me, because it is the right to pursue your happiness. So any American that is born in this country, falls under the Constitution. The Constitution does not stop at if you are a child in the womb. It doesn't stop there. It says that the Constitution applies to you. The Constitution applies to give folks the life, give folks the opportunity to live. That's the first thing. So if you're a Constitutionist, then you believe in life, because that's what the Constitution says. Now, if you are a Christian, you automatically should, and there are some people that don't, but you should believe in life. And the only person that can take away life is God himself, not man or not woman. And as his servants on this earth, and we have an opportunity to protect the life, and we don't do it, we have to answer for that, our own sins. But we have to do something, and this is part of doing that, running that law that exists in Arizona. And I want to make it clear to the folks out there, I'm not looking to regulate abortion. I am looking to abolish it in Arizona. Because regulating, we are continuing the slaughter of innocent lives.
Yes.
So I know there's some people's heads are probably blowing up right now, but that's okay.
Not everyone listening to us. They're like, yes.
Yeah, not everybody here.
They're
but
falling on their face right now, thanking God for your consistency.
Oh, yeah. But, and it's real easy for me. I mean, it's really easy. And maybe that's the prayers you all gave my family and I, and is the way I was raised, and to respect life and the many lives that I had to defend over 21 years.
Yeah, when you talk about not regulating, what we're talking about is we think the wrong methodology of the pro-life industry generally has been to approach this in terms of regulation, neglecting the fatherless children or the preborn who are being killed in mass. We've approached this in a way that is, can I just say, not consistent, cowardly, with fear. For example, when we think back at the travesty and the horrendous situation that was happening in this country here, in the issue of the slave trade and kidnapping, the Bible would call it man-stealing. It was a death penalty issue. If you kidnap somebody and put them into enslaved, that was worthy of the death penalty in God's law. So it was the Christian worldview that did away with, abolished slavery, but it took courageous people to finally say, we're not going to accept this anymore.
Exactly.
We're not going to make any concessions about this anymore. The answer is this is an injustice before God, and we're going to end it. We look back on that time period in America, and you ask the average person in America, you say, would you tolerate this to even the smallest extent? Like if you said, well, it's basically over, but we do have a few pockets here in South Phoenix where they've got some black people as slaves in their yards. We would all be gathering around those houses saying,
what are you doing?
We're not putting up with this. It's only a few black people. We'd say, absolutely not. That's an injustice. Why? Because the basis of all of it is that is a human being. A human being has God-given rights, and you are to protect human life.
Exactly.
The unjust taking of human life is murder. It is unlawful. The unjustified killing of a human being is in all states considered a crime. Now, what do we have today? What do we know today? Of course, on a biblical basis, that's the image of God. God commands against the murder of an image bearer of God in an unjustified way. You cannot take human life in an unjustified manner. However, what do we know biologically speaking today that Roe wouldn't even come in close to?
Right.
And that is that from the moment of conception, it is human life.
Yeah.
The only difference is the difference of degree, size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependence. We can't kill people because we say, well, they're small people.
Yeah, because then they'll start killing people because they're old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly
and
right.
exactly the point. So you also have level of development. So it's not fully developed yet. Well, neither is my 10-month-old and 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds. And everybody's in a constant stage of development as a human being. So the question is it arbitrary? Do we get to kill human beings and we determine, I don't think you're fully developed? By the way, that sounds a heck of a lot what they said to black people. They said, well, we can enslave these people because they're not fully developed, or they just said they're not human like us, or not fully developed humans, and
or they're cursed,
or they're cursed.
Or cursed.
This is the same argumentation that led to the injustice of slavery when we say they're not fully developed. It's not fully human like me. Or if we say environment, well, the baby's inside the mother. Well, so were all of us at one time. And when we're talking about a mother with a baby growing in her womb, we need to remember that over 98% of abortions are done at will, not because of rape, incest, or life of the mother. Those are less than 2% of all abortions. The rest are at will. And when a woman says it's my body, my choice, we need to make sure that we speak the truth. We talk about facts. Yes, that is your body, but that body growing inside of you is biologically distinct. It's a biologically distinct human being that deserves protection. And so when we talk about what's going on here, you're arguing from a consistent basis as a legislator. You're saying we need to protect human life.
Yeah.
Period. No matter the color, no matter the age, no matter the size, no matter the environment. And what I think is, Walt, so crazy about this, too, and you got in a lot of trouble recently.
I sure did. I love getting in trouble, though.
Yeah, well,
that's why we like you.
We like being godly troublemakers ourselves.
Yes.
But you got in a lot of trouble lately because you're a black man, and all the stuff about BLM, Black Lives Matter, and everything else, we're talking about a professedly Marxist organization from the top. As an organization, you were speaking against them. You got in a lot of trouble, and a lot of people were calling you nasty, racist names and titles and everything else because you were. But what's amazing to me is that you're a representative who's saying we need to value and protect every human life, no matter the size, the color. All humans deserve equal protection.
Exactly.
And yet the Black Lives Matter folks were after you.
They were after me.
But you're the one that's being consistent across the board.
Exactly. And if you look into black communities, 3,000 black babies are slaughtered every single day. So a basic question to Black Lives Matter or those folks that came after me, so if Black lives really do matter and we're only looking at life, then what about the 3,000 babies that are slaughtered every day? That sounds a lot like genocide to me.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like a systematic slaughter of a population. And that's something bigger than we are looking at other than just carrying signs on the road talking about Black Lives Matter or this or that, because they are systematically killing off black Americans in this country. There are more Planned Parenthoods and black communities anywhere else in the country. Why is that? And on the same corner, there are more liquor stores and there are more gun stores because they are trying to kill off the black community. The problem is that a lot of the black community was brainwashed. They were brainwashed by the Johnson administration with the not the New Deal, but the Great Society. Brainwashed with that. They were brainwashed with the black codes. They were brainwashed with a lot of these issues that supposedly were supposed to help the black community. And all it's done, it's hurt the black community. And I know you've heard that they say the Republican Party and the Democrat Party has switched. That's not true. That's not true at all. All that's happened is they changed their tactics. They changed their tactics from slavery to abortion. How can we continue to bond a generation of people with it being legal? Margaret Sanger is introduced to the stage.
Oh, yes.
And she sells it to black ministers.
Oh, sure. Well, New York City, you probably know this, but they murder more black children than are born in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, how do you do that? I mean,
well, and that's what we're talking about when we talk about not regulating and just establishing justice. Is we're talking about consistency. Now, the challenge, of course, we're going to have anybody in this country that tries to establish justice and to be consistent is they're going to have the paradigm shift begin with everybody around us that has used the title pro-life. We are consistently pro-life because we're saying pro-life It's human being from conception, protect all human life, no matter the color, no matter the size, no matter the level of development, none of those things. But the pro-life industry has largely said, well, let's assume Roe is a law.
Which it is not.
It is not.
Exactly.
It's a court opinion, and it's a fallacious court opinion from the 1970s that says what's in the womb is potential human life.
Yep.
That is absurd on its face today, with all the biological science just overwhelming that opinion, saying it's not potential human life, it is human life from the moment of conception. All the DNA is there. All that makes you is there from the moment of conception. It's just a difference from that point of degree and growth and change. But the pro-life industry has had the assumption that has been foisted upon the American people by those who are what they call pro-choice or pro-abortion, and that is that, well, Roe's the decision, and so now it's legal in the states. But and this is what I wanted to bring up, the fact that you're a constitutionalist, you believe in the Constitution as the rule of law in this country. The Constitution says that Congress creates law.
Exactly.
Not the Supreme Court.
Not the courts.
No federal law has been created around the issue of abortion, which is why, by the way, and I'll see if I can pull this up here. I'm not sure if you've seen this. Biden was recently asked when the campaign stuff was going on, when he was out of his basement, he was asked, it's true, he was asked about the issue of Roe, and oh my gosh, what if Barrett and all of this is going to undo Roe? What he says is so clear. He says, what I will do is create a federal law about abortion, which is a tacit admission that there is no law regarding the issue of abortion.
Exactly.
Because if we undo Roe, they said, well, we got to create a law, which means there isn't one.
Exactly.
Which means that the states, when Roe came down, well, here's what should have happened. If the federal Congress believed that Roe was correct, they had a duty as Congress to create legislation around that.
Right.
And the states, if they agreed that it was a constitutional decision, they had to create or transform legislation in their own states.
Exactly.
They didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because the assumption in the zeitgeist, the spirit of the age is, well, Roe has decreed. And it's like, well, that's not how our country works. Right. We all know that. And the interesting thing, and I was just talking to, I think, Christy about this yesterday. The interesting thing is, and this is just, it's such a great moment, and you now have, you have one of the strongest arguments right now in this moment. We just had on the ballot in Arizona the legalization of recreational marijuana.
Yep.
And it won.
Big time.
It won.
It wasn't even close.
So now in Arizona, like many other states, of course, Colorado, Washington, California, like many other states, marijuana, recreational marijuana, is legal. Okay, so now put that aside for a moment now, okay, in terms of like how you feel about marijuana, and we're not having the debate. The fact is marijuana is legal in the state of Arizona as of this election, recreational. Now, here's what's interesting about that is that there is federal law regarding the issue of marijuana. There is actual federal law prohibiting it. There are court cases prohibiting it, and yet these states somehow think they have the right to flex the sovereignty of the state to say, we're going to do what's right for our citizens, and we reject that federal law. We're talking law.
Only when it benefits them.
Only when you can smoke up, apparently.
Well, you see in Colorado, speaking of them, they passed some bill to save the gray wolves.
Saw that.
Yeah.
But then they also completely shut down, or there was a bill against late-term abortions, and it lost like horribly.
Yeah. Saw that.
So again, just talking about preserving life, it's like which life are we going to preserve here?
In terms of a consistent, we want all of our representatives and senators and everybody who's elected to public office to represent the citizens. We want them all to be consistent.
Yeah.
We respect you and honor you because you are a legislator ordained by God in this position. God put you in this position. You're trying to be consistent. And this is an area now where we have such a strong ability that we didn't even have 2 years ago in the state of Arizona to say, we understand as a state of Arizona that we have, this is a republic. We have a state sovereignty here.
Yes, we do.
And we can reject what we think is not constitutional, which comes from above, and we say that does not benefit our citizens. We disagree with it. We're flexing that strength to smoke marijuana while we allow image bearers of God and little human beings to be slaughtered, dissected, poisoned, burned in the womb on a daily basis in this state. And you are the representative in Arizona who is starting this cause of justice. It's the first time it's done in the state of Arizona to say we're not going to regulate this. We're ending the murder of children in the womb,
and we're putting it right up in everyone's face. Not just those folks that are for this atrocious act of slaughtering babies. This is a question that everybody's going to have to answer and stand for. Doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on.
Mm-hmm.
You're either for abolishing this, or you're for regulating, or you're just on the far left. You just want to go ahead and kill a bunch of babies.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone who has taken the gauntlet to serve in whatever capacity to make laws in this state, they are going to have to stand before, first of all, God, the people that they represent, the people that they say that they are pro life for, and say, you know what, I am against killing this, and all I am doing is pointing to existing law that's already on the books of Arizona.
Yeah,
we're not writing new law, because somewhere down the line, someone in Arizona, a session or a legislative session said, you know what, we need to abolish this.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's on the books.
Mm-hmm.
And God doesn't do things just to do them. He doesn't roll the dice.
Mm-hmm.
That was put there to test us in this time.
Mm.
So
powerful, and it's. I'll let you go here.
No.
The fundamental issue right now moving forward is it human life? Yes. Is the unjustified taking of human life against the law in the state of Arizona? Yes or no?
Yes.
And that's the cause. We're not making personhood arguments saying, well, is it a human that can feel pain? Well, we shouldn't kill them. Is it a human that has a heartbeat? I mean, that's an amazing thing, because we wouldn't do it, Representative Blackman. We wouldn't do it in any other area. For example, if the sex trafficking trade was happening in the state of Arizona, and it is, but if it was out in the open, legislators wouldn't be saying, well, let's regulate this situation. We know it's really bad, but let's just say that we're not going to allow sex trafficking for 13 and under.
Yeah.
Everybody would say, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. You don't regulate sex trafficking. And how deplorable is it as a mindset to say, well, we won't allow sex trafficking for 13 and under. And yet on the issue of abortion, we have people who have been elected to their seats by people who assume they're trying to end abortion. They call themselves pro-life, and they're saying, well, we'll allow abortion in the state, but not after 25 weeks, because that's really icky. You know what I mean? It's the same problem, and we have bought this line for long enough, and I am just so grateful to God that we have a moment now where we can establish justice for human beings.
That's why I don't believe in the heartbeat bill.
Yeah.
You're going to kill somebody once you determine a heartbeat?
Right.
Right.
I mean, come on. What does Joe say? Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man. And no, also, when you give that responsibility, Representative Blackman, to the abortion facility, and you go in, do we think that really the paid assassins in abortion facilities are looking for a heartbeat?
Right.
They're going to no, can't find one.
Sorry.
Let's go ahead and kill this human being. I say, someone says, well, we can kill a human being if it can't breathe on its own yet. Well, that's another example of stages we're going to go through in life. We have elderly people. COVID proves this. We have people in COVID where we had ventilators because they couldn't breathe on their own. We had to help them, and we had to purge their lungs, and we had to put them on ventilators because they couldn't breathe on their own.
Yeah.
So if the basis is they can't breathe on their own, well, then do we wipe out the people in the hospital because of COVID? Do we wipe out the elderly people?
And you make a great point there. Person goes into the hospital, they can't breathe. The doctor's just not going to sit around and say, well, you can't breathe.
Yeah.
That doctor, just by putting that patient on a ventilator, that doctor is practicing his or her hypocritical oath.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are performing their duty to save life.
Yeah.
So if a baby cannot breathe when the baby comes out, the doctor cannot say, well, we're just going to let you die, because that goes against their hypocritical oath. They have to perform life-saving methods to keep that baby alive. What's the difference?
Right.
Unless somebody goes into the hospital who is a breathing, thinking, reasonable person and says, you know what, if I get to the point where I can't breathe, I want you to kill the machine. That's completely different. They're ending their own life, but as a person standing by, we don't have a right to do that.
Right.
So
to speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. And just quickly on the issue of rape, incest, life of the mother, which is the life of the mother, which is the emotional arguments used by those on the left and those who are for choice. Rape, it seems simple enough to me. I just don't know why we can't see this. Rape is a heinous act that I actually believe deserves the strongest arm of the law of punishment. But I don't think we need to give that strong arm of the law and punishment to the child. Yeah. We should not punish the children of criminals. We wouldn't do that in any other circumstance, but we do with the issue of rape. Also, if you think rape is wrong, I would say on what basis? If somebody says, well, you can't violate a person's body against their will, I'd say, welcome to the pro-life movement, to the abolitionist movement, because that's the argument against abortion, is you can't violate another person's body against their will. And then the issue of incest, I've had friends who are the products of incestuous relationships, and I don't think we should kill them. And when it comes to life of the mother, when we talk about life of the mother, in the few instances, in the rare instances where the life of the mother is at stake, you tend to go to the hospital because that's a rescue operation. We're not talking about what we're talking about in reality in terms of what really happens in abortion is 98% plus is at will. I don't want this baby. And if you're with us at the abortion facilities where we're out saving lives throughout the week, friends, those mothers and fathers go in there and they say, I know it's my baby and I have a right to kill my baby. I don't want this thing growing inside of me. And that's the problem of the world that we live in today. It's not people who are truly the victims of rape, incest, and health issues that are going in there en masse. They're women who are going there to kill their children because they want to have sexual freedom. They want to have a better job. They don't want to put up with this. And even when adoption, even Walt, even when we have, we started out there for many years, Walt, many years. We've seen thousands and thousands of children saved through this work and this effort. But Walt, we've asked to adopt these babies at the abortion mill every single day we're out there, and the response we get, most common, is I could never give my baby up for adoption, and then they walk inside
and kill it,
and they kill their child. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that, Walt, you're a real life avenger, right? I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but that's what Romans 13 describes you. You're God's avenger of wrath. You are God's sword bearer to protect the innocent and to punish evildoers, right? And so, as we're moving forward, as you're going to drop this bill, this is God's standard. Right, this is the dividing line. So you're either a protector of the innocent and avenger of wrath against the evildoer, or you're on the other side.
Or you're not. It's
exactly. It's black and white. This isn't. There's no gray area here. And so that's why we love you so much. Right? We're so excited because you're like, nope, this is the standard. This is God's standard, and you're going to answer for this one day.
Exactly, and we're all going to have to answer where we stand. Just to go back a little bit when you were talking about those victims of rape and incest. Why are we giving the child the death penalty?
Exactly.
And letting the person who committed the crime walk away.
Right.
And I like to explain it in terms like that.
Right.
Absolutely.
Straight in your face, and that's exactly what it is. Because I think for too many years we've been dancing around the subject.
Yeah.
We really don't want to. We don't want to call it murder, because it's going to hurt someone's feelings. We don't want to call it this or that. Well, let's talk about the feelings of that baby.
Right.
Okay, and it's funny, all the folks that are for abortion and slaughtering these kids are already born.
Yeah.
So they're making choices on life and death decisions on someone else, but they are here because God put them here. No one said, let's kill you. I bet if we go back and say, okay, so if we say we can kill you because of your stance, is that going to be okay with you? Can somebody just come up and kill you now? And that is what they are doing, systematically ending these babies' lives based on a personal dislike of that baby or what have you, or the circumstances.
Right.
And it's wrong.
Yeah, and the strength here of this position, and everyone needs to hear this, is coming from a position of somebody who believes that there is a God, that there is meaning and value and purpose in the world, that this is the image of God. We know the marching orders. You know what you're standing on. But even if you take people who reject, say, Scripture, God's Word, as the norm, and say, no, I'm approaching this from a purely humanistic perspective, I would say, well, welcome to the party, because what's in the womb from the moment of conception is a human being, period, can't be denied. So the question is, are we allowed to take the lives of human beings at will? Just in an unjustified manner? And the answer, I think the state of Arizona would say no.
No, not according to statute.
Not according to the statute. We cannot do that. So the basis here is human life must be protected from conception, no regulation of this issue. And the state of Arizona already has a law in the books.
Yep. Exactly.
And we're gonna work to uphold justice for human beings in the womb. And I want everyone to please pray for Representative Blackman. Pray for the work ahead of us the next few months. As Christians, we try to speak to this in the culture to encourage, to establish justice, but also pray for the man who has been placed in this position by God. We believe all legislators ultimately have, and that could be a good thing or bad thing, judgment or blessing. But Walt has been placed in this position to establish justice for the preborn, and we're grateful. I mean, you have encouraged us so greatly. It was amazing. Walt got the official, it's good to go, and it was like, let's get started. Let's get started. From Walt. Walt was saying that.
Because I think we were even like, are you sure it's final? Because I don't know, Sharpie Gate and all this other stuff.
Sharpie Gate. Is that a hanging Chad?
Well, Christy and I prayed about it after the vote went out. We prayed about it, and we were inspired to give the nod to do this. And it's just important that we protect these lives. I mean, I don't know, maybe I just fell and hit my head somewhere, but it's just real simple to me. It really is simple.
Well, it is.
Yeah,
truly,
and it's not about politics. It's not about it's about, okay, so you either you're for saving lives or you're not.
Exactly.
There's no in between.
That's
so
right. No, and that really is how it is. It is that simple. The complicated nature of the situation is because of the opposing worldviews in our culture today. That really, I mean, the thing is, look, read the abortionists, read the people who are pro-choice and are advocating for it in our culture over the last 20 years. And now, the cards are on the table. All they say now is, we know it's human life. We know it's a baby. We still think we have the right to kill our babies. I mean, you can watch our videos where we're out talking to the Vagina Warrior and all the rest and everyone at the women's rallies and talking to them. You push and you push and you push, and finally you just ask the question. So you're just saying, like, you know it's a baby, you know it's human life, but you just want to be able to kill your children. And they're like, yep, that's what we're here for. That's because that's where we're at. And I want to say that is an evil that everybody should be willing to fight against. And we recognize it in the past when it comes to issues that were just travesties. We talk about the issue of human trafficking and slavery in this country of black people, as deplorable and as disgusting as that was. You look at the issue with the Jews and the Holocaust, where someone looks at a class of people and says, I know it looks like a human, it's not a human, it's a Jew. Or I know it looks like a human, it's not a human, it's a black man. And I think I should be able to overpower them, to perpetrate an injustice, and to kill them. We all recognize you can't do that, and we're going to stop you. We're going to stop you. Well, Walt is the hero of Arizona's children, and he's going to stop people from doing it.
Yeah, and I think it's important. What sort of fight you got ahead of you. You've already received death threats. Your children have received death threats.
Yes.
Did you see the one we just got?
No.
You guys got one too?
Oh yeah, we just got one.
We got one?
Well, yeah, Joy sent it to me.
I didn't see it.
It was like, I would like to meet your pastor. Like, where are you located?
Oh,
and Joy
my
was
goodness.
like, we don't really,
subtle, yeah.
We don't really have this or that, but I love to answer any questions.
Yeah.
And he was like, I wanna string him up and drag him down the street or something like that.
Yeah. I mean,
and believe me, trust me, you don't want to come near the studio.
No, you don't.
It won't go well.
We're armed to the teeth here, and you won't like it.
Well.
Yeah, we believe. By the way, he does too. Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it.
Arizona is not really blue.
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say. Because the left, when they learned that you were going to do this bill, they dropped $1 million against you, and you still spanked them.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But
and that's God.
That's absolutely.
That's
my point is, let everyone know what this fight's going to look like, so we can be praying for you.
Okay, so as you pointed out during the election, the Democrats, their ads and their IEs, Planned Parenthood dumped
Planned Parenthood,
$1 million bucks into a statewide campaign that pays $24,000 a year. Now, why would they do that? Well, because they're trying to cut it off at the growth, and that flower that grows, you cut it off so it doesn't grow. They're trying to cut the root, and that's what they're trying to do with all that money. However, God has different plans for this, and God prevails. We only raised 100-something thousand to their millions, and their ads were like 6 to 1 against us.
Yeah. Planned Parenthood knows what you're trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
And Planned Parenthood helped to fund against your campaign.
Exactly.
To the tune of, it went to $1 million against you.
Yeah.
And you still won.
Exactly. So that God has a hand in this.
Yeah.
And what Planned Parenthood will do, they're going to disguise the truth, like women's health. Okay? There was an ad that went out against me that says Walt Blackman is against women's health. No, I'm against you murdering your baby.
That's it.
That's it.
Very good. That's right.
And I even called him up and said that. I said, if you want to run the right ad, this is what I'm against you.
Could you quote me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then they hung up. I don't know why they hung up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man.
They're Planned Parenthood is a very, very, very aware, and we are aware of what they know and what they've been up to. We have 3,000 documents. We got through the Freedom of Information Act. We have all kinds of stuff. We know that Planned Parenthood, national and statewide and local, knows who we are, has been working against us, has been working even to try to, I'll leave it. I'll leave it at that. I won't announce it publicly to let you know what I do know you're doing.
Okay.
And Planned Parenthood knows what Representative Blackman is up to.
Yeah.
And so I would just say, everybody, we're going to need your prayers. We're going to need your support. Please, 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 because we have to emphasize, of course, the work that we're doing across the globe to save lives at the abortion mills, but also we're working to speak with humility and graciousness to our legislators and to say, please do what is right in the eyes of God. Do what is right for these children. Do what is right as a legislator in your state. You are called to protect those lives. And that's happening across the country right now. We have numerous states right now where we have representatives and senators just like Blackman here that are working to establish justice. And so we have a big fight ahead of us, guys. And so please pray. What do you? Well, let me ask. I'll let you speak to this. What do you need from us? What can we do to help you? I mean, listeners and everything. What can they do to help?
Your continued prayers, because prayers are more than money. They're more than anything that we can do. Prayers, because God answers our prayers if they're just and they are for a good purpose. He does. And I will tell anybody who is listening to this, or they'll get this. Planned Parenthood will probably get this and flip out.
Oh, they will.
They probably are already.
They're flipping out right now.
We already have people that monitor our.
So I want to look at the camera right now, and I'm telling you this: I am going to do this. This is going to happen, plain and simple. Okay, being a soldier my whole life, when I commit to something, I commit to it.
Yep.
And this is a mission that needs to be fulfilled. And if the mission changes, guess what? We call it a fraggle. A fraggle is that we take another direction to fulfill the mission. This is going to happen, folks. Okay, so you're either on the side of life or you are not. And I don't care what political party they are from. I don't care what background they're from. You are either for life or you are not. Plain and simple.
Amen.
Woo! Oh, such an answer prayer. Praise God.
I love
it.
You should have never gotten a tank commander.
No.
You
that's what we needed.
You are the man that God raised up for this.
Exactly.
So praise God. Thank you. Hey, everybody go to endabortionnow.com. Support the work. Listen, go to endabortionnow.com because there are two lanes we're operating in here. One is we got to save lives where they're being taken daily. So we go as churches to the abortion mills. We tell the truth. We offer help and love and hope. We've saved thousands and thousands and thousands of children. But the other lane is we can't just allow this injustice to keep filling those abortion mills where we're just sort of catching what we can there. We need to end it. We need to establish justice. And so we're working in both lanes and trying to support and love and encourage men like Representative Blackman here across the United States of America. So there's a lot going on. You can be a part of this just by going to get the free training and the free resources. Listen, we want your church to do this, and we don't want anything from you.
Exactly.
The other Christians at the end of the year help to fund this work, and we don't want anything from the churches. We are just establishing churches, raising them up, training them. We just actually gave and equipped 4 churches, 3 in the U.S., 1 in Ireland, their own studio media kit that's thousands and thousands of dollars so they can create platforms to do what we're doing. So we're not just focusing on Apologia Studios. We're having these other ministries that are saving lots of lives to establish their own ministry like this so they can be constantly speaking towards this. So much is happening. It was so funny. The last time I had checked was a couple of weeks ago, Walt. We had something like 503 local churches globally most in the U.S., who are out saving lives, preaching the gospel, trying to help and offer hope, adopting children at the abortion facilities. So we just had a meeting last week, and I got the update. I was like, what are we at now? And we were at 616?
Yep.
616 with how many? There was like maybe 20 that were waiting for approval.
I think so, yeah.
So it's just constantly growing of all the local churches globally, but again, mostly in the U.S., that are out saving lives.
Yeah.
Everybody, please go to endabortionnow.com, get set up, get free training, get free resources. If you want to support financially, please do. We need you. This is going to be a massive fight.
Sure is.
And our duty as a church is to speak prophetically to this, to our culture. His duty, ordained by God, is to establish justice as a legislator, and so different lanes we're operating in here, but we need your help, and also feel free to tweet out and tag
if it's not blocked.
Walt Blackman. Yeah, it's true. That might happen. Yeah, that will happen. Yeah, Walt Blackman. Give me encouragement. Let him know you're praying for him, especially his wife. His wife is the perfect woman for him. She is a beast.
You think Walt's feisty?
Yeah.
She is so strong.
I'm junior varsity.
That's right. Such a strong woman. Such a great companion to Walt in so many ways. And she's just she's just a great help to him. So pray for her, pray for Walt, and we're going to be giving you constant updates. You're going to see lots of stuff from this channel regarding what is happening in the state of Arizona regarding this. Can you stay on for a few more minutes?
Oh yeah.
I wanted to, since we have everyone here, we're doing the election thing. Can we talk about the election?
Yeah,
stuff?
let's do that.
So let me just say, some of you guys heard that. Some of you heard that Arizona went blue. That is still up in the air right now, and I am in Arizona, and let me tell you, I don't think so.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Yeah,
I don't.
You need to just take a little drive around. Now, we know where the pockets are. They're in the humanist and naturalistic, materialist educational institutions like ASU and NAU, and that's where the blue pockets are. But if you drive around Arizona, lots of guns on hips and in backs, and lots of people who love their freedom, liberty. They love the Constitution. Many believers in the state of Arizona who wouldn't go that direction. So peculiar things happening in Arizona. But I do happen to have a video of one Arizonan who had just found out about Arizona going blue. So I'll let Mark. Sorry, I said Marcus. Isaac, go ahead and play this.
I don't know who's been fooling with me. You are the devil. I don't know. And I won't even bring the human into this. He's just a mutt, so I'm not even going to bring him into it. But I'm confused. I'm mad. I love you, Lord. I love you. But I'm mad at you. I am mad at you.
Oh, that's one of our favorites. If you haven't seen it yet, that's The Apostle.
Have you seen The Apostle, Walt?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, all right, good.
He knows.
He knows.
Yeah.
You see the posters right over here. One of the best films of the year. I would say one of the best films of all time.
But
The Apostle.
It's funny that you would show that though, because I mean going out campaigning, I've knocked hundreds of doors.
Yeah.
And to the thousands, and talked to many people. And it's the same. Folks love their country. They love their liberties. They love their freedoms. So this blue state that CNN and Fox has just kind of labeled us with, I don't see it in rural Arizona. I don't see it in my church where I go, where folks understand that if we don't do something about the violence that's happening in the other parts of this country, that it could come up to our neck of the woods. Yeah. Okay, I don't see it in Walmart when I'm talking to the mom or the dad who's expecting a baby and are happy for that gift that God is about to give them. And I don't see that when I'm talking to the kids at school, when they're talking about what they want to do in the future, what kind of country they want to live in. I don't see where this is a country of socialism where it is controlled and our lives are stifled.
You know, speaking of that, it is interesting, too. If you look at this map, this is the current stuff, at least coming through the AP, which, you know. But if you look at and go ahead and Isaac, show the screen here. If you look at the map here, this is the current situation. Obviously, there's confusion over Pennsylvania right now, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona is a serious situation right now where they're counting votes. They called it blue before they actually had all the votes tallied and everything else. You've got Nevada. Again, these are the states right now where there's big questions. And, of course, there's questions about what truly happened in Wisconsin and Michigan. But I wanted to just show everyone this. Isn't this interesting? When you look at a map like, say, let's click on Maine. Okay, everyone knows Maine goes blue all the time. But you look at Maine, and Maine's mostly red. You see that? So it's the city centers and all this coastal stuff that is blue, and you're like, well, that's maybe smaller populations here. Right, but isn't it interesting that you look at it's always the city centers that are the blue, but the state is generally red. Watch this one too, watch. If you go off of here and you go to the state of New York, oh, everyone knows New York is blue every time, right? We're looking for socialism, we're looking for government handouts, all the rest. We got that perspective is rampant, but if you click on New York, it's red.
Yeah.
All the way through. The city centers are where you have blue, blue, but you're like, the whole thing is red. Isn't that interesting how it works out that way? And you look at the same thing over here in the state of Texas. Texas, of course, red, but look, red. City centers, blue, 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 blue. Arizona, we've got this is questionable right here. This whole thing right now is very questionable. But counts are still coming in. Votes need to be counted. Listen, no matter where anybody is at, whether you're an independent, whether you're a Democrat, whether you are a Republican, no matter where you're at, we all need to say it with a unified voice. We want everyone's vote to legitimately be counted.
Yeah.
And we don't want dead people voting. We don't want people's dogs voting. We don't want just random ballots to show up that don't belong that. Nobody wants that for our country. And look, if I was a Democrat, I would still want a just and right voting process where people who are supposed to vote can vote and their votes are counted. None of us want any party to manipulate the process. I would say, listen, if it was the other direction, it was like, say, some conservative party, it was the Republican Party, they got found out that they were cheating, I would say that's a very serious crime, and it should be punished severely. Nobody should be cheating in elections. None of us should want that. Again, look over here. This is state of Nevada. Nevada, same situation. You've got Idaho, again, red, blue, city centers, those sorts of things. Washington is so interesting. The state of Washington, everything getting close towards state of Idaho. You're looking like red, 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 red. Spokane. This is mostly conservative stuff. And you get to the city center stuff, coastal stuff, and you've got blue. What is it about the ocean that turns people into socialists? I don't know.
It's the salt in the water.
Yeah, it's something.
The salt.
Yeah. I just wanted to show that. I think it's always interesting to look at these maps and to see how this all works out.
Yeah.
It really is. You look at that. Like, you look at a blue state, and the whole state is red except city centers.
Yeah.
What is it about the states that gives it that consistent theme when you have people that are having to support families, grow businesses, make it on their own? They tend to be people who value private property. They value the goodness of work and working for what you earn. It's an interesting mindset. Somehow,
the establishment doesn't like that.
Yeah.
It's called independence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I think the answer to your question is modern slavery.
Exactly.
Those cities that are blue like that, the people that live in those cities are slaves to the state.
Yeah.
And that's how the state has made them, and so they continue to vote that way because they depend upon the state to provide for them.
Yeah.
And then it's expected by that party because they feel like that they own that person's vote because they own that person.
Exactly.
That's right. And, of course, there's all kinds of things happening right now with lawsuits, trying to make sure that only real votes are counted right now. So just be in prayer for our nation. I know it's a tense time for all of us. It truly, truly is. I'm of the opinion that communism is a wicked evil. And I don't want our country to go that direction. I've always said I'm not beholden to any particular party. I'm a Christian. I want to see justice and righteousness. And we're in a tough time. I know everybody's tense over the election issue. Look, God's still on his throne. No matter what happens, Jesus is still ruling this world. But I wanted to give you guys some encouragement today. Going into this, whatever the outcome is, God is still at work and doing some amazing things. In our case, in the state of Arizona, we have a righteous legislator who is going to be establishing justice for the preborn. It's happening in states across the country, so do not lose heart is the key.
Amen.
Do not lose heart, everybody, because God's still at work and good things are happening, and so be encouraged. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Representative Blackman for joining us on the show. Be in prayer for you. You guys are all going to hear lots more from Walt over the coming weeks. And, good show today. EndAbortionNow.com is where you guys go to get more. Get signed up. Go to apologetics.com to get more of the content. And be in prayer also as we get the Bonson Library, Bonson U, worked out. So you guys will get all the free training and free resources globally. You'll get access. I found out from Matt yesterday. Over 1,900 lectures. Audio lectures. Over 1,900 audio lectures. I don't even know how many videos.
Wow.
So much stuff is going to be available at apologiastudios.com for Bonson U, and it's all free. It's available to everybody. It's the highest level worldview, Christian education, seminary training you'll have anywhere, and it'll be free. So be in prayer for that, because it does take a lot of time to correct some of the audio and to upload.
Yep.
I mean, it is a tedious process. So it's coming, everybody. Representative Blackman, thank you, brother. Appreciate you so much.
That wasn't a COVID thing.
No, this was just, he's my man.
Yeah, that's what that was.
Look, I'll show you. We don't care about no COVID.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't care about that.
I was at a gas station today. I went to one gas station. Everybody and their mother has the face diaper on. The staff has the face diaper on. And I go across the street because they didn't have what I wanted there. So I go across the street to this little mom and pop shop. I go in, and the entire staff doesn't have their face masks on.
Yeah.
And I walk up to the counter, and they looked at me, and I said, guys, it is so good to see your faces.
Yeah.
And they were like, you too, bro. And
Yeah.
we're just like,
You need to come up to Snowflake.
I know. It's a little easier there.
Yeah.
All right, that's Luke the Bear, everybody.
Peace out.
We will catch you next time right here in Apologia Studios.